Hey, how's it going? And welcome to Whisky Wins with me, Stuart. It's good to see you again. I've been off for a week, or I didn't have a video last week. I was at a wedding in Italy. It was absolutely fantastic. It was beautiful, and congratulations to the bride and groom. Anyway, today we've got Kilkerran Heavily Peated batch number 3. I've reviewed batch number 1, thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd actually even go as far as to say I loved it. Batch number 2 I've done a side by side, and I've not reviewed batch number 2, so I kind of used that as an excuse for the side by side as a batch number 2 review, but it wasn't really a review. Anyway, we've got batch number 3. This has cost about £40 when it first came out. It's 59.7% ABV, and it's heavily peated, no added colouring, non-chill filtered, bottled on the 17th of March 2020. So yeah, that's the bottle there and the batch number on the back. Now my girlfriend gave me this blind last night, and I was quite surprised what my verdict was on it. And as you can see, I've kind of been, I will admit, I've been struggling with this, and this is why I decided to review it after my verdict last night. So we get down to the nose, the palate, and the finish. And if you're new here, how I rate my whiskies is, would I buy it again? Would I recommend it, and do I think it's worth it? If the whiskey gets 2 out of 3, then it's a whiskey win. If it only gets 1 out of 3 or 0 out of 3, which has never happened, then it's a whiskey bin. Yeah, 0 out of 3 has never happened. Anyway, we'll get down to it. So the first thing when I smell this is I don't pick up the peat straight away. I pick up a nice creamy, I want to say like a creamy fruit salad, possibly something like a fruit salad, but with a yogurt over the top of it. That's what that reminds me of. And then the peat eventually kind of reveals itself. It's not, even though it's heavily peated, I don't think the peat's too strong. It's strong on the nose. When you put your nose right in, you do get a little bit of an alcoholic presence, but it's not terribly strong. It's making you aware that the ABV's there, and the ABV's present. There's a little bit of kind of, again, I've kind of made it generic with this fruit salad, but there's definitely banana. There's probably some apples, there are for sure apples, pears. There's not any strawberries or anything like that. It's not really red fruits. It's these kind of more tropical, like I said, banana, possibly pineapple, but definitely green apples and green pears there. It's quite an interesting nose, quite an enjoyable nose. So we'll get down to the palate. Yeah, the palate's strong. It definitely needs water to tame it. An influx of alcohol, but what it carries is a nice kind of salted caramel a little bit, and then this overbearing peat creaminess. I don't know how I would describe a creamy peat, but that's what it's like. It's like creamy peat. Yeah, that definitely tames it. It's a salted caramel. It's quite sugary. It's a little kind of I can't remember what those layered pastries are called. Is it fino, or is it fino pastry, or I can't remember what it's called. It's like a layered pastry. So there's a little bit of crusty pastry there. There's, I want to say something like cured meat, something like that. A little savoury, not bacon, not anything like that. I've just been in Italy, and what's in the back of my mind is prosciutto ham and all that, the antipasties that they serve you with the cheese. So it's kind of like that, not salami, not pepperoni, but yeah, more just cured meat, like prosciutto or whatever, however you pronounce it. Yeah, it's nice. The sweetness, the savoury, it's very complimentary, but for some reason there is creaminess as well. I just got that there. I didn't want to end that there. There is a creaminess, a buttery element to it. yeah, maybe even, I really don't want to just be back in it. Well, I do want to be back in Italy, but it's like it's the kind of cured ham with a creamy cheese, maybe like a brie or something even creamier. Just, in fact, not even brie, like a really soft cheese, so something like Philadelphia, like an actual spreadable cheese. It is like that. It's creamy. It's savoury. It's sweet with that kind of salty caramel that I mentioned. And the pastry, it's nice. There's a lot of good flavours there, but it's just not hitting the mark for me for some reason. With the palate, the finish, is definitely long. That peat is there. It's earthy, grungy, kind of dirty. It's definitely a kind of Kilkerran's Campbelltowny peat. So long, earthy peat. I want to say those green apples are back, but I want to link it to the pastry as well and say that there's some sort of like kind of like that apple pie that you get out of McDonald's that's like lava on the inside. You have to either break it to let it cool down or just let it cool down, because as soon as you bite into it, it completely melts your mouth and burns you. So it's like that, quite sugary. Yeah, the apple pie, it's quite oily. The apple kind of compote or whatever they use inside, that green apple, sticky. It's nice. On the finish, the palate's got nice flavours. The nose is, it is complex enough and it's integrated together well, but there's just something that's not hitting the mark for me, and I don't know if it's because I love batch 1 so much. And I'm not trying to drive the price of batch 1 up because I'm looking in the auction to get one. I would like another bottle of that. But it seems for me that from batch 1 to batch 3, this is the last batch I've bought. I've not bought, I think we're up to batch 5. I've not bought 4 or 5 because this one hasn't really agreed with me and I've not enjoyed the direction it's went in. I just really loved batch 1 to start with. So I'm not sure what difference there is or what's happening. I'm not sure if they're trying to stay quite close to the same recipe or what, but this one just doesn't really hit the mark for me and I'm struggling with it, and it is a shame because I like Kilkerran and I really liked the first one, as I've said. But anyway, we'll get down to the review. So would I buy it again? No. If I was to go for one, like I said, it'd be the batch 1. It's nice. This isn't a terrible whiskey. It's not even a bad whiskey. It's a good whiskey, but it's just not hitting the spot for me. So I wouldn't buy it again. Would I recommend it? I can't say I wouldn't recommend it. So I would say yes, I would recommend this because it's got good flavours and it might appeal more to someone else. But it's just not hitting the mark for me. I just keep saying the same thing over and over. And do I think it's worth it? So it's £40. Non-chill filtered, no added colouring, good ABV, 59.7%, no age. I mean, it is worth it, but but the experience I'm getting and I don't want to say disappointment. I can't speak. I can't think of words. You ever get that when you say a word over and over? I've said it in my head and now it doesn't seem like a real word. Disappointed. That is a word, isn't it? Yeah, so anyway, I don't want to say it's disappointing, but it sort of is because I'm comparing it to the first batch. So it is technically worth it, but I'm also saying it's not worth it, if that makes sense. It's not worth it because I'm not enjoying it. That's what I'm trying to get at. Or I'm not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed the first one. So I would say the first one was better value, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm going to say it's a whiskey bin. It's almost a 2 out of 3. We're kind of on the fence. We'll say like it's a 1.5 out of 3 out of the questions, or we'll just say it's a 1 out of 3 to keep it clean. But yeah, I'd probably only recommend it, which seems a bit weird, that I wouldn't buy it again. I don't think it's worth it, but I'd still recommend it. Yeah, I don't know, my point system's weird. But anyway, yeah, I'm struggling with it, but someone else might enjoy it. That's what I'm trying to say. So, Whiskey Bin, unfortunately. I've been Stuart, this has been Whisky Wins. Thanks for watching.